video, I'll be performing this quest, perform foundational infrastructure task in Google Cloud. So this is a 4-hour quest. So once you complete this quest, you will be earning this skill badge. So this skill badge is provided by Google Cloud. This quest contains set of labs which you need to complete to earn this skill badge. So let's start with this lab, Cloud Storage, Quick Start, Cloud Console. So this is a 30 minutes lab. By doing this hands-on lab, you will get an idea on how to use the cloud storage bucket. So in this hands-on lab, we will be using a cloud console to create a storage bucket, then upload objects, create folders and subfolders, and make those objects publicly accessible. So we'll be performing all of this task. So let's start with the lab. So once you click on start lab, this timer will start. So temporary environment gets created. So let's click on open Google Cloud Console and sign in with a student ID and the password. I've logged into the Google Cloud Console. Let's proceed with the task 1, create a bucket. So bucket are nothing but like a containers which hold data in cloud storage. So let's create a bucket. Let's go to console. I'm in my console here. So let's go to here under navigation menu. You need to click on cloud storage. So we are under cloud storage dashboard. So this is how the dashboard looks like. And here you can see there are no buckets created yet. Let's click on create. You can use the project ID to create a bucket. So let's use a project ID. Let's copy this. Here under bucket, provide that name. So I'm using the project ID as a bucket name. Bucket name should be unique. You can't have 2 buckets with the same name. So you have to ensure that you provide a unique name. In this lab, I'm using the project ID as my bucket name. So you can also do the same. And these are the naming rules which you need to follow. You should not include any sensitive information in the bucket name. Everyone can access the bucket since it is global and it is publicly visible to everyone. So you have to ensure that you don't include any sensitive information in the bucket name. And bucket names must contain only lowercase letters. You can't use the capital letters. All the letters in your bucket name should be lowercase. It can contain numbers, dashes, underscore and dots. And if the bucket name is contained in any dots, it requires the verification. You can click on this and check about this. Let's open this in a new window. So domain name bucket verification, you need to follow this. So these are the procedure which you have to follow if you are using a dot name over there. And the bucket names must start and end with a number or letter, and each bucket name must contain 3 to 63 characters. So these are the rules which you need to follow. And bucket names cannot begin with a Google prefix. So this is the Google prefix, right? So it should not contain any Google or similar to Google. You cannot name your bucket in that way. And for DNS compliance and future compatibility, you should not use underscores or have a period adjacent to another period or dash. So for example, you cannot have double dots in your bucket name. You can't have these formats. So you have to ensure that you don't use this in your bucket name. And this bucket we need to create in US-West1. For the storage class, we have to choose standard. So let's go back to our bucket. Click on continue. So here under location type, click on region, and here let's select US-West1. So this is the region you need to select. Click on continue. And for the storage class for the data, you need to click on set default access and standard. So this is the storage class you have to use. Next, under how to control access to objects, you need to uncheck this and force public access prevention on this bucket. And under access control, you need to select uniform. Click on continue. Choose how to protect object data. So protection tools, we will leave the default. So let's click on create. So this will create a bucket. Now the bucket is created. You can see this is a bucket. So once that is completed, you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So we have created one bucket. So every bucket must have a unique name across the entire cloud storage namespace. So this is true. We should use a unique name to create a bucket. Next, let's upload an object into the bucket. So let's save this image as kitten.png. Now let's go back to our bucket here. So this is a bucket. So click on this bucket. Click on upload files. So select the image which you have saved. So click on this kitten image. Click on open. So now this kitten.png file got uploaded. So let's go back. So here now you can click on check my progress and this should be complete. You have to ensure that you use this proper naming convention to your image. Then only this task will be completed. Object name must be unique only within a given bucket. That's true. The task 3, let's share this bucket publicly. So let's go back here. Here under permissions tab, here click on grant access. Under new principal, enter all users, and for assign rules, select cloud storage object viewer. So under permission, for this resource, we are adding a new principal. In a new principle, we're adding all users and we are assigning this storage object viewer rule. Click on save. So here it is asking, are you sure you want to make this resource public? Yeah, we have to click on allow public access. So now it's updated. So let's go back. So here you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So let's verify that if the public access has been enabled. This is object which we have added to the bucket. So this will be publicly accessible now since we have added that permission. So here you can see this is having a public access, but it is public to internet. You can copy this URL and in a new tab you can open this. So now you can see this image. So let's go back. So now this is complete. Let's create folders now. Here you need to click on create folder. So provide a name as folder 1, click on create. So this will create a folder now. Now you can see a folder got created. So inside that folder we will be creating one more folder. So this will be a subfolder for folder 1. So we have to name this folder as folder 2. So let's go back. Let's get inside folder 1. Here click on create folder. Provide a name here as folder 2. Click on create. So this has created a folder 2. So once we have created that folder, we need to upload some files to that. Click on upload file and let's upload the same image. So now the upload is complete. You can see one folder and one image got uploaded. If we go back to this storage bucket, here you can see there is one folder. Inside that folder we have another folder and an image inside that. So let's go back. Now let's delete this folder. So if we go back here, I hope you understood what we have done. So we have created a bucket. Inside bucket we have created a folder by the name folder 1 and we have also added kitten.png. This is the image which we have added to this bucket, and inside folder 1 we have created one more folder, so that is called as a subfolder for folder 1. So that subfolder name is folder 2. So this folder 1 contains one folder and one image. Now let's go back to bucket. Let's click on buckets. So this will take you to the bucket. So this is a bucket. Let's delete this bucket now. So you can click on delete bucket and here it will ask for confirmation. Here you need to type delete. Click on delete. So this will delete the bucket and all the objects inside that bucket. So we have completed this lab. So in this lab I have created a bucket and I have uploaded an object into the bucket. Later I made this object publicly accessible by adding a permission to it. Then inside bucket I created a folder. Inside a folder I created one more subfolder and I added an image to that. Later we have deleted the bucket. So once you complete the lab, you can click on end lab and click on submit. Once you complete this lab, if you go back to the quest, so if you scroll down, so if you refresh this, you can see this is marked as complete. We have completed this lab. So you can perform either of this lab, cloud storage using Cloud Console or cloud storage using CLI or SDK. So if you are comfortable doing in the Cloud Console, you can complete this lab. But if you want to understand how to create a bucket using the command line tool, you can also try this lab. So I'll be showing this lab as well. So I'll be starting this lab. Here also we'll be creating a bucket and uploading an object into the bucket. So we will perform all of the tasks using the CLI. So let's start the lab. Click on open Google Cloud Console and log in with the student user ID and the password. So since we will be creating a bucket using the CLI, let's activate the Cloud Shell. So click on activate Cloud Shell. So this will activate the command line interface. So you can open this in new window as well. So here click on open in new window. Now the Cloud Shell is activated. Let's go back to the lab. So setup and requirements, it's the same. It explains how you can start the lab. Let's move ahead. So next we need to set the region. So let's copy this command. Jcloud config set. We are setting the region to US Central 1. So let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell and execute it here. So this will set the region to US Central 1. So when prompted for authorize, you need to click on authorize. So it will authorize the Cloud Shell. Let's proceed with the task 1. We will be creating a bucket using the JSUtil. So here in this lab, we will be using JSUtil in Cloud Shell. So this condition bucket naming rules, you can go through this. So I have already explained in the previous lab when I created bucket using the Cloud Console. So here we will use the make bucket. So here we will be using the JSUtil tool followed by MB. MB is nothing but make bucket. So if you are creating a bucket using the JSUtil tool on the Cloud Shell, you need to follow this format followed by GS colon and the bucket name. So under bucket name, I will be providing the project ID as a bucket name. So I'll be copying until this. Go back to Cloud Shell. Let's copy this project ID and paste it here. So this will create a bucket with this name. So you have to ensure that you create a bucket with a unique name. So now the bucket got created. If you go back to the Cloud Console here, if you click on Cloud Storage, click on Buckets, here you can see bucket got created with this name. So we have created bucket from the Cloud Shell. So let's go back. Here you can click on check my progress and this will be complete now. So each bucket has a default storage class which you can specify when you create your bucket. So that's true. Next, let's upload an object into the bucket. So if you're using CLI tool, you can run curl command followed by this URL. This will download the image which is hosted in this path. So let's copy this, go back to Cloud Shell, execute this command. So now you can see it got downloaded. So let's go back. Next, using gsutil cp command, we will upload this image to the bucket. So here you can see gsutil cp command. When we issue cp command, it will copy. So this is the image name. So as you can see in the previous command, -- output, we have specified this name here. Then followed by the destination location where this image needs to be uploaded. Let's copy this command and execute it here. So this will upload this image to the bucket. Here you need to specify the bucket name. So this is my bucket name. So here you need to provide the bucket name. So ensure that you replace your bucket name with the actual bucket name here. So execute this command. So now you can see it's copying this file. So the operation is complete. Now it has copied this file to the bucket. So if we go back to Cloud Console, we go inside bucket, there should be a file. So now you can see there is a JPEG file which got uploaded to this bucket. So let's go back to the console. Now we can remove the downloaded image by executing this command rm. So rm indicates remove, followed by the what needs to be removed, adder.jpg. So this image we are removing it. So copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell and execute it here. So this will remove that image. So when we issue this rm adder.jpg, it will remove the image. So from this location, not from the bucket, but from the present working directory. If we do ls, so here you can see there is no file here with this name. So it has removed from the local workspace. So initially in this command, we have downloaded this image into the local workspace. Now we have removed that image from the local workspace, not from the bucket. So if we go back to the bucket, even if we refresh here, the image will be available because we have uploaded into the bucket. So when we issue this RM, this will remove only from the local workspace, which means if I execute pwd, this is my local home workspace. So in this workspace, previously, when we executed this curl command, it downloaded this image with this name. So that image, we have removed it. I hope you are clear now. So let's clear the screen. Let's go back. Now let's download an object from your bucket. So let's execute this command jsutil cp-r followed by the bucket name and the file name. So here you have to ensure that you replace with your bucket name, and this is the image name followed by the dot. So dot indicates current working directory. Let's copy this command. Let's go back to Cloud Shell. We need to replace this. Okay, here my bucket name is the project name only. So I have replaced it. Let's execute this command. The operation is complete. If I perform ls, see now you can see this got downloaded. Okay, now that is done. Next, let's copy an object to a folder in the bucket. We will issue this command gsutil-cp followed by the bucket name. So we are copying this image. So what we do is we will create a folder by the name image-folder, and then later we'll copy this image adder.jpg. Let's copy this command. Let's execute it here. Replace with your bucket name. So here, this is the source path from where we are copying the file. So we are copying this adder.jpg from this path, and this is the destination path. to where we are copying this file. When we issue this command, if image hyphen folder is already there, it will copy the file to this path. If it is not there, then it will create a image hyphen folder. Then it will copy the file to that folder. So let's execute this command. So now we can see this operation is complete. Let's go back. Click on check my progress and this should be complete now. Now let's move it with a task by list contents of a bucket or folder. So using JSUtil ls command, we will be listing the contents of a bucket. So here you have to ensure that you provide your bucket name. Execute it here. So this will list all the contents in the bucket. So here you can see there is a folder by the name image hyphen folder, and ada.jpg is the JPEG image which we copied to that bucket. So let's go back. Next, let's proceed with the tasks. List details for an object. So if you want to know details of a specific object, you can issue this command JSUtil ls-l followed by the bucket name followed by the object name. Let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell. So let's execute this command. When we execute this command, it shows this detail. Here you can see when this object got created and the object size. Let's go back. Now let's make the object publicly accessible. Let's execute this command JSUtil ACL. So ACL is nothing but access control and CH is nothing but change. So when we execute this command, we are granting all users read access. So here you can see all users for R means read access to this ada.jpg file. So let's copy this command. So let's execute this command. Now the ACL is updated for this ada.jpg. We have provided read access to all the users. Now let's click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So now we have provided public access to all users so they can view this image. So this we can verify. If you go back to Cloud Console here, click on Cloud Storage, click on this bucket. So for this image, we have provided a public read access to all users. So here if we scroll towards the right, here you can see public access has been enabled. So you can copy this URL and open in a new tab. So open this link in a new tab. Now you should be able to see the image. So this is the image which we uploaded to our bucket. So let's go close this. Let's come back. So test your understanding. An access control list is a mechanism you can use to define who has access to your buckets and objects. Yeah, that is true. Next, let's remove public access. So using this command, we will be removing this permission, whatever we have set. So ch followed by -d. -d is nothing but it is deleting. So it will remove this access, whatever we have provided to this image. So let's copy this command. Let's go back to Cloud Shell. You have to ensure that you provide the proper bucket name. So whatever bucket name you have created, you have to use that. Let's execute it now. So now you can see it has updated the ACL on this ada.jpg. Let's verify that. So I'm back to my Cloud Console. So this is the page. So let's refresh this page. So now you can see this public access has been removed. So this is not public now. So let's go back. So you can stop publicly sharing an object by removing the permission entry that as, by removing project owner role, by updating storage class. So all users. So this is a correct answer. All users. Next, let's delete the object by executing this command JSUtil rm. Rm is used to remove, followed by the object name. Let's copy this. Go back. So let's execute this command now. So this will remove the object. So now you can see the operation is complete. Let's go back. So if we go back to the console, so if we refresh this page, so that object has to be removed. So now you can see that object got removed. Now the lab is complete. This lab we saw how to create a bucket from the command line interface using the JSUtil tool, how to create an object and upload the object to the bucket, how to download this object into the local workspace, how to copy this object to the bucket and list the contents of a bucket or the folder, and how to create a folder, list details for an object, and how to make it publicly accessible, then remove access. Let's end this lab. I'll be performing this lab, Cloud IAM Quick Start. So let's start with the lab. Click on this Cloud IAM Quick Start. So this is a 45 minutes lab. So in this lab, we'll be setting up users, IAM roles and permissions to the project. IAM is nothing but Identity and Access Management Service offered by Google Cloud. So using IAM, we can create and manage permissions for Google Cloud resources. So we can control what kind of permissions we can provide to users for different cloud services using IAM. So in this specific lab, we will learn how to assign a role to the user and how to remove the assigned roles from the user. We will also see how we can grant and revoke permission for Google Cloud project owner and viewer roles. So without wasting any time, let's start the lab. So you can click on start lab. So once we start the lab, here we can see there are two usernames, username 1 and username 2, and the password will be same for both of these usernames. And this is a GCP project ID, and here you can see the open Google Cloud Console. So when we start the lab, a temporary environment gets created with the users and the project ID created for your use for this lab purpose. In this lab, we will get two usernames. This is to illustrate how the IAM policies and what kind of permissions are available for specific roles. So if we have two users, we can identify the difference between two users and what kind of permissions they have. Let's open this Google Cloud Console, copy this username, and let's log in with the username 1. Ensure you log in with your student ID and password. So this is a temporary credential which gets created only for this lab purpose. So only this student ID will have access to the resources. Now we have logged into the Google Cloud Console. Let's go back. Now again let's log into the Google Cloud Console using a second username. So open this in a new tab. Provide the second username and the password will be the same. So copy the password and provide your. So now we have logged into the Google Cloud Console as a second user. So if you want to see which username you have logged in, so if we go back here, you can over on this. So here you can see the user account name. And if we come here, so here you can see the account name. So this way you can verify it in which username you have logged in. Let's go back to console 1. So here we have logged in as a student username 1. So let's check what kind of permissions and roles are assigned to this user. So here click on IAM and admin dashboard. So when you click on IAM and admin, it will take you to the IAM and admin dashboard here. We are under permissions tab here. So if you scroll down here, this is the student username 1. And this username is having app engine admin, BigQuery admin, editor, owner, viewer. So these are the roles which are assigned to this specific user. Scroll up here. If you click on grant access, since this username is having a owner permission, we'll be able to provide an access here. We can add a new principals. So you can create a new principal, assign roles. So if you click on assign roles, select the basic. So there are 4 roles here: browser, editor, owner, viewer, right? So if we go back here, so these are primitive roles in Google Cloud. So these roles at project level permissions, they control access and management to all the Google Cloud services. When you set these roles or viewer, you will be providing a read-only permission to the user. So you can only view the resources. You will not be in a position to edit or modify any of the resources or the data. And if you provide the roles for slash editor, when you provide this permission to a user, you will also provide a modify access. So using the editor role, you will be able to modify the existing resources. Along with the read access, you will be providing the write access as well. Roles are followed by the owner. So when you assign owner role to the user, you will be providing these permissions. So manage roles and permissions for project and all resources within the project, set up billing for a project. So all these actions you can perform with the owner role. Whereas browser role, you can read access to browse the hierarchy for a project. So you can just view the folder organization and cloud IAM policy, and you will not be in a position to view resources in the project. When I say resources in the project, so project can contain VM instances or the storage buckets, so you will not be able to view all these resources. So if you just have a browser permission, whereas using a owner permission, you will be having a control over the project and all the resources which are inside that project. So you will be having a permission to set the billing as well for the project. You can click on cancel. Now let's switch back to username 2. So this is a username 2 tab. Let's go to IAM and admin. So this is the student username 2, and this ID is having only the viewer permission. Here you can see this is grayed out, grant access. You will not be in a position to use this. So you cannot assign roles or permissions to any other user. Whereas username 1 is having this permission. So you can click on grant access and add a new principal here. But whereas since this username too is just having a viewer permission, you can just view the resources. You will not be in a position to do any modification to the resources. So let's go back. Now let's prepare resource for access testing. So let's go back to this console. Let's create a bucket here. We will create a cloud storage bucket with a unique name. So cloud storage here, click on create. Here you can provide any global unique name to your bucket. So you have to ensure that it is unique. Click on continue and keep the location type as multi-region. Click on continue and create. Click on confirm. So this will create a bucket now. Now the bucket is created. Let's go back. So next we will be uploading a sample file. So let's go back to this bucket. So we are under bucket. So here click on upload files. So we will be uploading a sample text file here. So I uploaded a sample text file. So ensure that you provide a name this way, rename the file sample.txt. So you can browse your computer and find any sample file and you upload that file and then rename that file to sample.txt. Click on check my progress and this should be complete since I have uploaded a file to the bucket. Next, let's verify project viewer access. Now we need to switch back to username 2. Username 2. So let's go to cloud storage here. Since this user is having a view access, you should be able to view the files in the bucket. So let's verify that. You can close all this. With this username, I'm able to see this bucket. So if I go inside the bucket, so I can see this file. So I can view. So this particular user is having a view access. So let's go back. So that we have verified. Next, we will remove the project access to username 2. So under this task, we will be doing that. So let's head back to Cloud Console as a student username 1. Go to IM and admin. So here we have this, right? So we'll be removing this student user. So we click on remove access. Select that username and click on remove access. This will remove that ID. So now you can see that a student username 2 doesn't exist here. Let's verify. So now we are back to Cloud Console 2 as username 2. So now you can see when I refresh this, the changes have been propagated and now it's reflecting here. Additional permissions required to list buckets in this project. Ask a project owner to grant you storage bucket dot list permission. So means we have removed viewer permission for this student ID. Now he is not able to view the buckets. Now the username to as lost access. So you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. Now let's move it with a add storage permission. So we will be providing a storage permission for username 2. Whatever permission we have removed, we will assign back this permission to username 2. So let's copy this username 2. Let's go back to IM and admin. So as username 1 only, we'll be able to grant access. So let's click on grant access here. So this is a student ID, username 2. So under new principal, I'm adding his name. Select a role here. Click on cloud storage here. Need to select storage object viewer. Click on save. So now it's updating the policy. Now you can see this student username 2. This username 2 is having a storage object viewer role. So now let's verify this access. So let's refresh this page. Still is not able to see here. The reason is this user is not having a project viewer role. That's why he's not able to see any of the resources, even the files inside the bucket. So let's view this. Since he is having cloud storage object viewer role, he can access this files from the command line interface. So let's activate the cloud shell here as a username 2. Click on continue. Let's execute this command gsutil lsgs. So let's copy this. When we execute this command, it will list the files. So now we are getting this output. And if you get this access denied exception, you need to wait for a minute and again run the previous command. So you can click on check my progress. This should be complete now. We have added the storage permission. I hope you understood the difference. In the remove project access, we have removed the project access. Before he had a project viewer permission, we have removed that permission and we have just assigned a storage object viewer role. That's why he is able to list only the files which are located inside the bucket. So in the cloud console, you will not be able to view that files in the storage bucket since he is not having the project viewer role. But instead is having storage object viewer role. So you will be able to access those files from the command line interface. So this is complete now. I hope you understood this lab. So whatever task I have performed in this lab. I hope you got a complete understanding about it. Once done, you can click on end lab and this should be complete now. We have completed all the tasks in this lab. So once we complete all the tasks in this lab, so we'll get a score here. So this is a scorecard. Since I ended this lab, now it is showing is it as nil. So once you complete all the tasks in this lab, you will get 100 out of 100. And then this lab will be marked as complete. In today's video, I'll be doing this lab, cloud monitoring. So this is a 15 minutes lab. Within this time frame, you need to complete all of these tasks. So there are 7 tasks in this lab. So let's go through the overview. Using cloud monitoring, you will get the visibility into the performance, uptime, and overall health of the cloud resources. In cloud monitoring, we can generate insights via dashboards. Using cloud monitoring, we can make use of dashboard to get the visualization about all the applications. So in this hands-on lab, we will be monitoring a compute engine virtual machine instance with cloud monitoring. We will install monitoring and logging agents for the VM, which will collect information from the instance, and this can include metrics and logs about this instance. So let's proceed with this lab. So let's click on start lab. So once you click on this start lab, this timer will start running. Ensure that you complete your lab within this time frame. So let's click on open Google Cloud Console and log in with the student username and password. I have logged into the Google Cloud Console. So let's go back to the lab to setup and requirements. So in setup and requirements, it explains how you can start this lab. So let's set the region and zone. So let's execute these commands. So using this command, we'll be setting the zone and region to US Central 1. So let's copy this command and go back to our Google Cloud Console. Let's activate the Cloud Shell. Let's open this in a new window. Now the Cloud Shell is activated. We can execute this command. So here we are setting the zone and region to US Central 1. Now the configuration is updated. We can go back to our lab. In task 1, we'll be creating a compute engine instance. So let's go back to our Google Cloud Console. Click on compute engine. So let's create an instance here. Click on create instance. Copy the name of this instance. So we need to create an instance by this name. So copy the instance name. And the region and zone should be this US Central 1, US Central. So here under machine configuration, you need to select general purpose, series E2. And under machine type, it should be E2 medium. So this E2 medium will be 2 vCPU, 1 core and 4 GB memory. Scroll down under boot disk, the image should be Debian Linux 11 Bullseye. So identity and API access, we will allow default access. Under firewall, you need to ensure that you check this box for allow HTTP traffic. Once that is done, you can click on create. This will create a VM instance. Now the VM instance is created. So let's go back to our lab here. Once that is done, you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. Let's proceed with the task 2. In task 2, we'll be installing Apache HTTP server on the instance. So to install this Apache HTTP server on the instance, we need to SSH to that instance. So let's SSH to this instance. So now we have logged into this VM instance. Once we log into the VM instance, so we need to update the packages by executing this some command sudo apt-get update. So let's copy this command, execute it here. So this will update the packages which is required for installing Apache HTTP server. So once that is done, install this by executing sudo apt-get install Apache 2. So we will be installing Apache 2 HTTP web server. Execute this command. So here it will ask for the prompt. You need to provide it as yes. So now this process is complete. It has installed Apache HTTP server. So let's go back. So once that is done, we need to start the service Apache 2. So to do that, we need to execute this sudo service Apache 2 restart. So this will restart the Apache 2 service. So let's copy this command. To check the status of this service, you can run this command status. So here you can see the status of the service is running. So once that is done, you can click on check my progress. This should be complete now. So to verify this, let's go back to our VM. Here you can click on external IP. So once you click on that external IP, you should get this Apache A default page. Since we have installed Apache HTTP server, we should get this page. So let's go back. So you can click on check my progress now. Once that is done, let's create a monitoring metric scope. To configure monitoring, we need to install monitoring and logging agents. So let's start with this. So here, under search, we can search for this monitoring. This is the one, monitoring, infrastructure and application monitoring. Here you can see these are the steps. We need to install an agent. Next, we need to create a dashboard. After that, we need to create an uptime check. Finally, we have to create an alert. So all these steps we will be performing as part of this lab. So the cloud monitoring agent is nothing but it is a collection based daemon that gathers all the system and application related metrics from virtual machine instance and sends them to the monitoring. By default, this monitoring agent collects disk, CPU usage, network, and process metrics, and it displays all those information in a dashboard. So in this part, we will be installing the cloud logging agent to stream logs from the VM instance to the cloud logging. So we will be running this monitoring agent install script in the SSH terminal of the VM instance to install this cloud monitoring agent. So using this curl, we will download this script which is required to install the monitoring agent. So let's copy this command, and you have to ensure that you execute this on your VM instance. If I do ls, so this is the one. So we have downloaded this script from using the curl. So once that is run, we need to execute this command sudo bash. So as a sudo user, we are installing this monitoring agent. So let's copy this command, execute it here. So now you can see it's installing that monitoring agent on this VM instance. So this is very much required to set up the monitoring this VM instance. Now the installation is successful. So you should get this message. Let's go back. Next, we will install the cloud logging agent by executing this command sudo systemctl status. So this command will execute. So let's copy this. I will clear this screen. Execute this command here. To exit out of this, type Q. So you will be back to your console. Let me clear this screen. So let's run this sudo apt-get update and again update these packages. You should get this done status. So let's go back. In task 3, we will create an uptime check. This is complete. Next, we need to create an uptime check here. Under monitoring dashboard only, you will have this uptime check. So click on uptime check. Here, click on create uptime check. So the protocol will be HTTP. So there are 3 protocols here, but in this lab, we'll be using this HTTP protocol, and the resource type will be instance. Since we are creating this more uptime check for our instance, we have to ensure that under resource type, we select this instance and scroll down here under instance. You need to select the instance which you had created. Check frequency will be 1 minute. Let's continue. So under response validation, we will leave whatever default it has taken. We will leave all this default as is and we will continue. This also under alert and notification. This we will leave it as default. Let's continue. For title, we need to give this name. So let's copy this name, go back and enter here. So once you have updated all this, click on test. So you should get this 200 OK response. So once you get this response, click on create. So this will create a uptime check. Now we have created an uptime check. Let's create a alerting. Click on create policy here. So here under select a metric. So you have to uncheck this, show only active resources and metrics. So once you uncheck this, under filter by resource, you need to type that. Then you need to click on VM instance, click on interface, then click on network traffic. Other fields we will leave it as is. So whatever default value it has taken, we will leave it as is. Click on next. Under configure alert trigger, condition type will be threshold. And threshold position will be above threshold, and threshold value here you need to set it to 500. Next, click on this advanced option. So retest window, it will be 1 minute. So once this is done, click on next. Under notification channel, click on this drop down. Click on this manage notification channel. We need to create a notification channel here. Here you have to scroll down. So there are many notification channels available here. We will be adding this email. So click on add new. Here provide your personal email ID. So I'll be providing this personal email address, and the display name also you can set. Infra notification you can set. Click on save. So once this is done, I can go back. I can refresh this notification channel. Now it should list. So select the notification channel which we have created just now. Click on OK. We will leave this as default. Here under documentation, we can add some text which has to be included in the email field. Next, we need to name this alerting policy. We will name this alert policy as inbound traffic alert. So let's copy this. Go back. So here you have to provide that name. Next, click on next. So this alert policy name is inbound traffic alert, and we have set a notification channel here. And the channel type is email. Under documentation, you can include the message which has to be included in this alerting mail. I didn't add any message there. That's why it is showing it as blank. And this is the configuration which I have set. It will trigger when this specific threshold is reached. Review this and you can click on create policy. Now it's created. We can go back. You can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So let's proceed with the task 5, create a dashboard and chart. Next we will be creating a dashboard so that we can get the visualization about this metrics. Let's go to this monitoring page. So under monitoring page only there is a dashboard field here. So click on this dashboard. Here let's click on create dashboard. We need to name this dashboard as cloud monitoring lamp quick start dashboard. So let's name this dashboard. Next, let's add a widget to this. We'll select the line. So you need to select the line option in the chart library. Next, name the chart title to CPU load. So let's copy this CPU load. So widget title, you need to paste that. Widget type is line chart, widget title is CPU load. Next, we need to select the metrics. So we need to type the CPU load 1M. Here under metric type, you need to disable this. Once you disable this, under filter by resource, you need to type that. Here you need to click on VM instance, CPU load 1M. Click on apply. So once that is done, so we will click on apply. So that widget will be added to this dashboard. Now it has added this. So we'll add one more widget here. You can click on these 3 dots here and click on add widget. Again, we will be adding the second chart. Again, it will be a line option. We will be naming this chart as received packets. So let's copy this. Let's select this visualization as line and widget title will be received packets. Next under metrics, uncheck this and filter by resource, it will be received packets. Select the VM instance. Select the instance. Click on received packets. Click on apply. All other fields, we will leave it as default. So this way you have to configure it. So let's go back to our widget. So let's click on apply. Now you can see we have added 2 widgets, CPU load and received packets. So this is how it looks like in the dashboard. So let's go back. We have completed task 5. Let's proceed with the task 6, view your logs. So we need to view our logs, right? So let's go back. Here under search, you can type logging. So you can click on this logs dashboard. You need to go to logs explorer here. Click on logs explorer. So under log explorer, under log fields, we will be selecting the VM instance. Since we will be checking the log for our VM instance, we have to select that. Then scroll down, select your instance ID here. So my instance ID is this lamp-1-v. So I have selected that. So once you select that, you need to click on stream logs. Now you see the logs are getting generated for this instance. So this way it should stream the log for your instance. So let's go back. So this is how you do it. Next we will check what happens to our VM instance if we stop and start it. So let's go back. So we will duplicate this tab. Let's go to our VM instance. Let's go to compute engine. This is a VM instance. So let's stop this instance. So it's stopping this VM instance. Let's go to a logs explorer. We'll see if this has been picked up and if we get the logs for the same. So here you can see there is an information available here. VM a compute instance stop. So this command has been issued. So it's stopping this and the stop is successful. VM instance is shut down. So let's go back. Here you can see the status is stopped. So let's restart this. Go back to logs explorer. Here you can see it's getting a message. So the instance is getting started. So that you are getting here. As part of task 7, we need to check the uptime check results and triggered alerts. So let's go back here. So we have checked this. Under logs explorer, we have checked how the logs gets generated when the VM instance is stopped and restarted. So now let's check the uptime check. For that, we need to go to this monitoring page. Let's click on this monitoring. Here we need to check the uptime checks. So let's click on uptime checks here. As you can see here, there was an issue. So since we have restarted the instance, it is still taking some time for the changes to be propagated. So let's refresh this page. Let's go to alerting here. In alerting, you can see there are 2 incidents got fired. So these are the 2 incidents. So 2 incidents got created for that. Under incident summary, you can find the summary of this and uptime check on this. So you can click on this incident summary and you can find the details about this incident. So when it happened and the status of this incident. So you can also click on view logs. So when you click on the view logs, it will take you to the logging page here. Here you can check the logs. Now the status of this instance is running. So let's go back here again under uptime check. Now you can see it is slowly coming up. So now in Asia Pacific, it is showing it as green. So it will take some more time for all this to appear green. See, this is the error, connection error, host unreachable. Because we made that instance down, that's why we are getting this error. Now we can see all checks are passing in all the zones and the instance is healthy. So in this lab, we learned how to set up a monitoring and alerting in GCP. So once you complete all of this task in this lab, you will get this 100 out of 100 score. Then you can click on end lab. So let's click on this lab. So this is a 20 minutes lab. You can either perform these cloud functions in a console or you can do it on a command line. So if you're comfortable on command line interface, you can do this second lab. And if you're comfortable doing in a web console, you can start with this lab. I will be doing both of this lab. So you get a complete understanding on how it works on a console and how it works on the command line interface. So let's start with this lab. So this is a lab overview. A cloud function is nothing but a piece of code that runs in response to an event, such as an HTTP request, message from a message service, or a file upload. Whenever cloud events happen, this cloud function gets triggered. So these set of events are considered as a cloud events. And these cloud functions are event driven. They run only when something happens. These are some of the example where you can use a cloud function. And you can write your code in any language that supports Node.js and you can deploy your code to the cloud with a few clicks. So as part of this lab, we'll be creating, deploying and testing a cloud function using the Google Cloud Console. So this specific lab contains 5 tasks. So we will be creating a function, we will deploy this function and we will test this function and also view logs of this. So let's click on start lab. So this is a 20 minutes lab. You need to ensure that you complete your task within this specific time. So you can go through the setup and requirements. In setup and requirements, it just explains how you can start the lab. So now the lab is started. Click on open Google Cloud Console. So we'll be performing all these operations in a Google Cloud Console. So this is a web console where we'll be creating the functions and using it. Now we have activated this Google Cloud Console. Let's go back. So as part of task 1, we'll be creating a function. So to create a function, we have to go to the navigation menu, click on cloud function and then create function. So let's go back to console here. Under navigation menu, click on navigation menu. So if you don't find here, you can click here on search button. You can type cloud function. This is a one, click on this. Towards your right, there is a learn tutorial. And if you want to go through some of the use cases, you can always click on this learn tutorial and go through these documents and also go through the use cases. So let's close this. So now we are in the cloud function dashboard. So here, click on create function. So we need to provide the function name here. So let's go back to our lab. So the function name will be GC function. So whatever you get in your lab, you have to ensure to use that name. So let's copy this. Let's go back to this update here. So ensure you don't give any spaces here. So now I have provided the function name. Now the region should be US East 4. So let's select the region. So this is the region where the cloud function will be created. Trigger type we will be keeping HTTP. This we will keep it default. Under runtime build connections and security settings. So whatever memory allocated, whatever default value it has taken, let it be. You don't modify anything here. Next, under auto scaling, here let's set the maximum number of instances to 5. So once that is done, let's click on next. So let's go back here. Next, we are proceeding with the task to deploy the function. So we still have to do some of the configuration inside that function. So once you click on the next button, it will take you to this configuration page. Here under runtime, don't change the runtime. Let it be Node.js 20. And under the source code, if you click on drop down, So by default, it has taken this inline editor. Let it be. Don't change anything. Then under index.js, you can see the hello world function. So don't modify anything. We'll keep this hello world function only. And the entry point is hello world. So next, you need to click on deploy. Under package.json, it is simple HTTP. So next, just click on deploy. This will deploy the function. Now you can see it is creating a function and it is deploying this function. So you can see this function is getting created. If you click on details, here you can find the details of this function. So here you can see when it was deployed, this function is created in US East 4. So maximum instances we have given 5. So it has taken the scene. So it's getting deployed. So let's wait for some more time. It's deployed. So you should get this green check. Function is active now. So this is a trigger URL. So if we go back to this lab and if we click on this check my progress, this should be complete now. So we have deployed the function. Next, we need to test this function. Let's go back to our cloud console here. Here we have created this function by the name GC function, and under actions, click on this, click on test function. So in the triggering event field, we need to enter this. So let's copy this. So here we need to enter this. Once we enter that, you can click on test the function. Now it is running. You should get this output hello world. So now this is complete. This is the expected output. We got the expected output as hello world. So now we have tested the function. Let's proceed with the task for view logs. Let's go back here. Here under logs and check the logs here. So if you go back to function details, here under actions, you can click on view logs to check the logs of both this function. So this is how the log should look like. So here you can find the GC function logs. You can click on stream logs as well. So here you can find the GC function logs. So this is how you can find the logs. So you can now click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So let's try to answer this. Cloud function is a serverless execution environment for building and connecting cloud services. That is true. Which type of trigger is found with while creating cloud function in the lab? So it's HTTP. So once you complete all these tasks, you can click on end lab and end this lab. So in this lab, we just created a function and deployed this function. After deploying this function, we have tested this function and we were also able to view the logs. So this is how the cloud function works. So let's end this lab. So once you have completed all this task, you can go back. So you can go back to your quest, refresh this page. So once you complete that lab, you should get this green check mark. So now we have completed this lab. In today's video, I'll be doing this lab cloud functions using command line interface. We will see how to use a command line interface to work on cloud function. So in my previous lab, I showed how to use the cloud function using a web console. So in today's video, we'll see how we can use it on a command line interface. Let's start with this lab. This is same as the web console. So here also we will have 5 tasks which we need to complete using the command line interface. So here also we'll be creating a cloud function and deploying this cloud function and testing the cloud function. Then we will be viewing the logs on using the command line interface. So the only difference is here we will be performing everything on the CLI instead of using the web console. So let's start the lab. The lab is started. Just log into Google Cloud Console using the student ID and the password. Now we have logged into the Google Cloud Console. So let's go back to our lab. So here, so the setup will be the same. Let's proceed with the task 1, create a function. So we'll be creating a cloud function in a cloud shell. So as part of task 1, we'll be creating a function. So we will create a simple function by the name hello world. So this function will write message to the cloud function logs. It is triggered by cloud function events and accepts a callback function used to signal completion of the function. So in this lab, we will be making use of this cloud pub subtopic event. So once this event is created, cloud function gets triggered. Pub and sub is a messaging service where the senders of messages are decoupled from the receivers of messages. So when a message is sent or posted, a subscription is required for receiver to be alerted and receive the message. So once this pub subtopic event is created, it triggers a message. So let's create a cloud function. So before creating a cloud function, we need to set this default region. So we need to execute this command gcloud config set compute region, and we'll be setting the region to US Central 1. So let's go back to our web console here. So let's activate the Cloud Shed. Since we will be using the CLI tool, we need to activate this Cloud Shell. So let's open this in a new window. Now let's set the region to US Central 1. Let's copy this command and go back to Cloud Shell here and execute it here. So this will set the region to US Central 1. Now it's the configuration is updated. Now let's create a directory for the function code. So this mkdir creates a directory by the name gcf hello world. So whatever name here they have specified, it will create a directory with that name. Let's copy this command. So let's execute it here. So if we do ls, it will list the directory. So this is a directory which we created just now. Let's get inside the directory using cd command. So we are now inside this directory. If you do ls, it doesn't have any files here. So it is not having any content here. So let's go back. Here we will create an index.js. So we can use nano to create and open this index.js file, or if you're comfortable using vi, you can also do vi and execute this. Let's copy the following into the index.js file. Let's copy this, paste it here, control x y and enter. Next, if you cat this, so you can see this content is available now. Now we have created an index.js file. Let's proceed with the task to create a cloud storage bucket. So using this following command, we'll be creating a cloud storage bucket for the function. So here using JSUtil tool. So if you are using command line interface, you have to use this JSUtil tool. This MB is nothing but the make bucket command, followed by -p is the project ID and GS is the bucket name. So here under project ID, we can use this project ID. So project ID, you will get it here. So the same project ID, we can copy it. So you need to replace this with the actual project ID here. And the bucket name should be unique. So you can make use of the project ID itself so that your bucket name remains unique. So let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell, can clear the screen. Here we need to replace this. Okay, let's go back. Let's copy this and paste it here. So this is a project ID which I'm using to create my bucket. So you ensure that you replace this with the actual values. So let's execute this command. Now this will create a storage bucket. So now the bucket got created. Let's go back. Now let's click on check my progress, and this should be complete now. We have created a storage bucket. Next we need to deploy the function. So when deploying a new function, we must specify this -trigger -topic -trigger -bucket. So this is very important. So we need to specify this too. When deploying an update to an existing function, the function keeps the existing trigger unless otherwise specified. So if you are deploying any update, function will keep the existing trigger. So for this lab, we'll be using the -trigger -topic as hello world. So we will be keeping this. So we will deploy the function to a pub subtopic named hello world. So here we need to replace the bucket name. So let's copy this command. So here we need to execute this command gcloud followed by function. Since we are deploying a function, you need to specify that, followed by functions deploy, and the function name is hello world here, -stage -bucket. So the bucket name you need to specify here, and the trigger topic is hello world. Runtime we are specifying it as node.js. So you remember in our web console we have configured all of this. So same way we will be performing this on a CLI. So let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell. Here, remember to update the bucket name. So whenever any new file gets uploaded to the bucket, it creates a scrubber subtopic, and this will trigger a function. So this is how it works. You can see this logs, deploying function. So for build logs, you can click on this link and check the build logs. This is deploying the function. Entry point is hello world. Event trigger is pub subtopic. The runtime it is using Node.js 20. So you can see all these details here. So let's go back. Verify the status of the function. So let's verify the status of the function by executing this command. So let's clear this screen here. Let's copy this command. Let's go back, execute it here. By executing this gcloud function describe hello world, it will give a detail about this function. So you can see the status is active, this function is in active status. So let's go back. So you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. Now in task 4 we will be testing this function. So once we deploy the function and once the status of this function is active, we need to test the function if this writes a message to the cloud log. So let's execute this command. So let's copy this command. So once we execute this command, we should get this output. So let's go back to Cloud Shell. Let me clear the screen, execute it here. So we got this output. So this is the expected output. Once that is done, let's move ahead with the task by view logs. So we can view the logs of this function by executing this command gcloud function followed by logs. Since we are viewing logs, we have to pass this logs read and the function name. So let's copy this command, execute it here. We will get this output. Now the task 5 is also complete. Let's move ahead with the task 6. Serverless lets you write and deploy code without the hassle of managing the underlying infrastructure. Yes, that's true. Using cloud function, we can write and deploy code without having to manage the underlying infrastructure. So that's how you use the function using the command line interface. So I hope you found this video helpful. So once you have completed all this task, you can end this lab. In today's video, I'll be performing this lab Google Cloud Pub Sub Quick Start. So without wasting any time, let's start with this lab. So click on this lab. So these labs are self-explanatory. So you can go through this lab by yourself. So once you perform all of this lab, at last there will be one challenge lab which you need to perform by yourself. So there it will not be having detailed explanation. So you have to do it yourself. I am performing these labs and giving a detailed explanation about all these labs along with this. I hope it will be useful for you. So let's start with this lab. So this is a 30 minutes lab. In this lab, we will see how to use this Cloud Pubber Sub. So this Cloud Pubber Sub is a messaging service provided by Google. So it is a messaging service which is used for exchanging event data among applications and the services hosted on the Google Cloud platform. So in this lab, we will set up a Pubber Sub topic and add a subscription to that topic. And we will also see how to publish and consume messages to the topic. So let's proceed with the task 1, setting up a Pubber Sub. So we can use a Google Cloud Console to perform these operations. Let's go back to Google Cloud Console here. So under navigation menu, if it is not listing Pubber Sub topic, you can always search it here. You can type pub or sub. So here it will show in the products and pages. So this is the one. Click on this Pubber Sub. So now we are under this Pubber subtopic dashboard. So you can hide the info panel here. So we can click on create topic. So topic ID, we'll see what we have to create. So the topic must have a unique name. For this lab, name your topic, my topic. So let's copy this. Topic ID, it will be my topic. Topic ID, so whatever you get in your lab, you have to use the same name. Then these are the defaults, it's automatically taken. So we will leave this default as is and click on create. So this will add a default subscription and the encryption will be Google managed encryption key. So we will not modify anything here. So now we can see it's creating a topic here. Let's wait for some more time. So it has created a new topic and also added a new subscription. So let's close this. So here you can see my topic got created. So once it's completed, you can come back here and click on check my progress and this will be complete now. So we have created a pub and sub topic. Let's proceed with the task to add a subscription. So now we will make a subscription to access the topic. So let's add a subscription to this topic here. When you come to this Pubber Sub dashboard, here you can see this is the topic. Click on this more actions. Click on create subscription. Under subscription ID, so you need to provide this name my sub. Copy this. So here a subscription ID will be my sub and the topic name is this. So that's the topic. For the topic we are creating the subscription and the delivery type. Under delivery type, if we select full, subscribers must request delivery. For other subscription types, Pubber Sub delivers messages as soon as they are published. So here these are the delivery types. And a message retention duration. So if you click on this question mark, it will explain about this. Retain unacknowledged messages with specified duration. If retain acknowledged messages is enabled, acknowledged messages are retained for the same duration. So the retention, we will leave this default. So it will be there for 7 days. The expiration duration is set to 31 days. So we will leave all the other defaults as is. Let's click on create. This will add a subscription to the topic. Now you can see you should get this message, the subscription successfully added. Now you can see the subscription is in active status. This is the one. Let's go back. Now you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So let's proceed with the task 3, test your understanding. So this is the correct answer. Publisher application creates and sends messages to a topic. Then subscriber applications create a subscription to a topic to receive messages from it. So this is the correct answer. Cloud Pubber Sub is an asynchronous message service designed to be highly reliable and scalable. That's true. Next, proceed with the task for publish a message to the topic. So let's publish a message to the topic. Here under Pubber Sub dashboard, go to topics. Click on my topics. Go to messages here. Here under messages tab, you need to click on publish message. So under message body, you need to provide this hello world. So let's copy this and give here. Then click on publish. The message got published now. So that's complete. Let's move ahead with the task 5, view the message. To view the message, you will use the subscription my sub to pull the message LOL from the topic my topic. So let's enter this following command in the command line. So let's copy this command. So in the Cloud Shell, we will be executing this command gcloud pops up subscription pull. This is how you pull the message. So that's the one way to pull the message. So here also you can pull in the Cloud Console. So you can click on this. So click pull to view messages and temporal delay messages delivered to other subscribers. So let's click on this pull. So now it's pulling the message. To view the messages, you will use the subscription myself to pull the message LOL from the topic my topic. So the topic name is my topic and the subscription name is -sub. So this is how you pull the message. So now you see you got a message here LOL. So this is another method where you can pull the message directly from the web console, and the second method was from the command line interface, which they have explained here. So this is how you create a pub sub topic and add a subscription and send a message. So in this lab we saw how to create a pub sub topic, add a subscription to the topic and publish a message to the topic, and how to pull the message from the topic. So once you have completed all this task in this lab, you will get this score. So once you get this score, you can click on end lab and this will end your lab. So it will delete all these resources which you created in as part of this lab. So now you have completed this lab. So if we go back, so you should get this green check mark. In today's video, I will be doing this lab, Google Cloud Pubber Sub, using a command line interface. So in my previous lab, I completed this Cloud Pubber Sub topic on a web console. Today, I will be performing this lab. So it's the same lab, but we will be using command line interface. So let's click on this lab. We can click on Start Lab. So I've started this lab now, and I also logged into the Google Cloud Console using the student ID and password. So as part of this lab, we will be creating a Pubber subtopic. In this lab, we'll learn the basics of PubSub. We'll create, delete, and list PubSub topics. We'll publish messages to topic, and we'll see how to use a pull subscriber to output individual topic messages. We'll also see how to use a pull subscriber to pull all messages from the subscription. So let's proceed with the task 1, PubSub topics. So PubSub comes pre-installed in Google Cloud Shell. So we don't have to install or configure anything. We just start the service. So let's create first topic by executing this command gcloud PubSub topics, and we'll be creating a topic by the name my topic. So let's copy this. So let's activate a Cloud Shell here. So let's open this in a new window. So let's copy paste the. Now the PubSub topic is created. So let's go back and click on check my progress, and this should be complete now. So now we can see it's complete. So let's create 2 more topics by the name test1 and test2. Let's copy this command. Let's go back to Cloud Shell and execute this command. So this will create 1 more topic by the name test1. So let's copy this command as well. and execute it here. If you want to view the topics which you have created, we can use this command to list those topics. So let's copy this command. Let's go back to Cloud Shell and execute it here. So it will list all the topics which got created recently. So here you can see all the topics. You can see the name of the topic. This is the name of the topic. So it will show all the topics. Now let's proceed with this. So let's delete these topics. So by executing this command, it will delete the topic. So here we are passing delete command to delete this topic. So let's copy this command and delete the two topics. So now we are deleting this topic test1. It's deleted now. Let's go back. Let's copy this command and delete the test2 topic as well. Now let's go back. So let's execute this command again. Gcloud pops up topic list and see how many topics get listed now. Now you see only one topic by the name my topic. So let's clear this screen. So let's proceed with the task 2, pops up subscription. So we will create a subscription to our topic. So we need to execute this command gcloud pops up followed by the subscription, and we are creating a subscription to this topic. So we need to ensure that we pass this hyphen topic and the topic name and the subscription name. So let's copy this command. Let's go back to Cloud Shell, execute this command. So now the subscription got created for this topic. Let's go back and you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So let's add another 2 subscription to the topic. So let's execute this command. So we will be adding subscription to this topic test1 and test2. So let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell, execute it here. So this will create another subscription. So now it's created. Let's go back. Let's copy this command as well and execute it here. It's done. Let's go back. So let's run the following commands to list the subscription to topic. So we will execute this command. Gcloud pops up topics, list hyphen subscriptions and followed by the topic name. So remember that we have added subscription to the topic, my topic. So we are listing the subscription which is made to this topic by executing this command. So let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell and execute it here. See, now you can see there are 3 subscriptions. You should get this output. To receive messages published to a topic, you must create a subscription to the topic. Yes, that's true. Now delete the test1 and test2 subscription. So let's execute this command to delete those subscription. It's deleted. Let's copy this command. It's deleted. So let's proceed. So again, we'll list the subscription to the topic by executing this command. So now we choose there is only one subscription. Let's proceed with the task 3, pops up publishing and pulling a single message. So let's execute this command to publish the message hello to the topic, my topic. Since we are publishing a message, we need to ensure that we pass this publish command and topic name here and the message hyphen message hello. So let's copy this command. Let's execute it here. So you should get this output. Let's publish few more messages. So let's copy this command. Here you need to ensure that you replace this name. Let's copy this. So we are just publishing a few messages to our topic. Next, we will use the pull command to get the messages from the topic. The pull command is subscription based. Let's execute this command. Gcloud pops up subscription followed by the pull, since we are pulling the messages from this subscription. So whatever messages we have published, we are pulling those messages. So let's copy this command, go back to Cloud Shell and execute it here. And we should get this response. So we should get this output. We got the same output. Now let's proceed with the task 4, pops up pulling all messages from subscription. So if you want to pull all the messages from the subscription, we need to execute this command. Gcloud pops up topics, publish my topic hyphen message. So here we will be publishing few messages using this command. So let's copy this command. Let's execute it here. So we are publishing few messages to the subscription. Once that is done, we will add a flag to the command to see output of all three messages in one request. In the previous command, we use this auto hack. So when we use this, this will format the messages into a proper format. We can set few formats. So here we can also set this limit flag. Using the limit flag, we can set a limit on the number of messages to the pull. So here we need to pass this command gcloud pub sub subscription pull. So we are pulling the messages and we are setting the limit to 3 auto hack. So this to get this message in this proper format, we are passing this command. So you can see how neatly it is giving the output. So let's copy this command and execute it here. So you should get this output. So now we have completed this lab. So in this lab we saw how to create a pub sub topic using a command line interface, how to create a subscription and publish the messages to this topic. Click on end lab and end this lab. In today's video, I'll be doing this challenge lab. Perform foundational infrastructure task in Google Cloud. So this challenge lab contains 4 tasks. I will explain each and every task. So let's start with the lab. Log into the Google Cloud Console using the student username and the password. You need to log in with the username 1 and copy the password. So in this challenge lab, we'll be creating a bucket for storing the photographs. Then we'll create a pubber subtopic that will be used for the cloud function, which we are going to create. Then next we need to create a cloud function. Task 4, we will be removing the previous cloud engineer. So we have 2 usernames here. So we need to remove this username too. This is considered as the second cloud engineer. So we have to ensure that all the resources are created in US East 1 region and US East 1-B zone. Then we need to use the project VPCs only and the naming should be in this format. And we need to create all the resources in most cost effective way, which means that we need to use the smaller machine type. Like we can use a E2-micro for small Linux VMs and E2-medium for Windows. Let's proceed with the task 1, create a bucket. So here we need to create a bucket by this name. So let's copy this bucket name, go back to Cloud Console. Here go to Cloud Storage, click on Cloud Storage. There are no buckets created yet. So click on create bucket here, paste that bucket name here, click on continue. Region they have specified here, we have to use US East 1 region. So under region select US East 1, click on continue. We'll keep other things as default, click on continue. Next click on create. So this will create a bucket. So you can click on confirm here. Now the bucket is created. So you can go back to the lab. You can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. So now the assessment is complete. Now let's create a pubber subtopic. We have to create a pubber subtopic with this name. Let's copy this. So in Cloud Console, let's search for pubber sub. Click on this. So now we are in the pubber sub dashboard. So click on create topic here. Topic ID, we will give that name here. Click on create. So this will create a pubber subtopic. So encryption, we'll keep it as Google Managed Encryption key only. Now the topic is created. So let's go back to this lab. So here you can click on check my progress. So the assessment is complete. Now let's move it with the task 3. Create a thumbnail cloud function. So here we need to create a cloud function by this name. And this cloud function should execute every time an object is created in the bucket. So this is a bucket. So whenever any object is created in this bucket, this cloud function should trigger. And entry point we have to set it as a thumbnail and trigger we need to set it as cloud storage. So let's go to our console here. Here you can search for cloud function. Click on this cloud function. So this will take you to the dashboard. Here click on create function. Function name we have to update. So copy this function name and the environment it will be first gen. Select US East 1. Next under trigger type you need to select cloud storage. And event type here you have to select this finalizing or creating file in the selected bucket. So here they have mentioned the condition. So it executes every time an object is created in the bucket. And the bucket is this. So we have to select this event type finalizing or creating file in the selected bucket. Then under bucket, we need to select that bucket name. You need to select this bucket, click on select, save this. So once that is done, click on next. So here the function is written in Node.js 14. So you have to choose the runtime, Node.js 14 here. Make sure you set the entry point to thumbnail. So copy this. Here entry point you need to change it to thumbnail. Next under index.js. So in this file we need to replace this content with this. So let's copy this, delete this, then paste that one, whatever we have copied there. And here we need to replace with our topic ID. So this one we need to replace. Copy this topic ID, back here, update here. Now this is done. Next under package.json, we need to copy this content and replace this. So delete this content and paste the one which we have copied. So this is done now. So you can now click on deploy. So now it is creating a function. It's creating a function now. So under trigger condition, you can see the event type is on finalizing or creating file in the selected bucket. So whenever we upload any files to the bucket, this function should get triggered. Go back here. So this function is getting created. Meanwhile, let's go back to our lab. So here we have to upload one JPEG or PNG image into the bucket. Let's download this image. So let's copy this URL and open it in a new browser. So now this function is created. Let's go back to our bucket, cloud storage. So this is my bucket. So let's click on this bucket. And this bucket is empty right now. So let's upload one file to this. Click on upload file. So I will be uploading this. Now I have uploaded one JPEG file here. So let's refresh this. As soon as I uploaded this file, a thumbnail.jpg got created. So this got created because of that cloud function. So whatever we have created. So cloud function identified that a new file was added to the bucket and it triggered the function due to which this thumbnail.jpg got created. So once you refresh that bucket details, you will be able to find that. So we have this. So this is the expected output. So you can click on check my progress and this should be complete now. Here. So there is one more task we need to complete here. We have to remove the previous cloud engineer. So the previous cloud engineer is this. So here there are two users, username 1 and username 2. Second user is the previous cloud engineer. We have to remove this engineer. So let's go back to our cloud console here. Let's go back to our navigation menu. Go to IAM and admin. So here we can find two student IDs. One student ID is having owner, project, IAM admin and viewer role. And the second student ID is having just the viewer role. So this is the second user. So we have to remove this user. Select that and click on remove access. It will prompt for this, provide confirmation. Now it has removed the student. So let's go back and click on check my progress. Now the assessment is complete. So that's it for today's video. I have just explained how you can complete this foundational infrastructure task in Google Cloud. I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe to my channel and stay up to date with the latest content on Google Cloud. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next video.